My name is Broaddus, and in 2014, my family and I bought what we thought was our dream home. It was a magnificent 6-bedroom house at 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. It was everything we'd ever wanted. It's a quiet, safe neighborhood, the kind of place where you imagine your kids growing up, where nothing bad is ever supposed to happen. But just 3 days after we closed the deal and got the keys, everything changed. That's when we received the first letter. It was from someone who called themselves The Watcher. It arrived in a plain, unassuming white envelope. No name, no return address. Just a single, chilling sentence written in thick, blocky letters to the new owner. I remember opening it, thinking maybe it was a welcome note from a neighbor. At first, it seemed almost harmless. Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, welcome to the neighborhood. But as I kept reading, cold dread started to creep into my veins. The letter went on, I have been watching the house for decades. My grandfather watched it in the 1920s. My father watched it in the 1960s. And now, 'tis my time. I couldn't process it. Watching for generations. What did that even mean? Then, the tone shifted, becoming darker, more sinister. Have they found what's in the walls yet? Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Young blood. Fill the house. I felt physically sick. My wife, Maria, read it next, and I watched the color drain from her face. The terrifying part was, we hadn't even moved in yet. Very few people even knew we'd bought the place. So how did this person know? How did they know there were new owners? We immediately called the police. Days crawled by. We tried to convince ourselves it was just a sick, twisted prank. Maybe a disgruntled neighbor or someone who lost out on buying the house. We tried to stay calm. Then another letter showed up. This time, it was far worse. It was personal because the Watcher wrote about our children. They were mentioned by their nicknames, the private, loving names only we used inside our own family. The letter said, I see them, I hear them. I will call to them as I called to the ones before you. A wave of pure ice ran through my chest. How could this person know so much? How did they know our kids' nicknames? Were they watching us from a neighbor's window? Hiding in the trees across the street? Or was it possible they were somehow inside the house? We didn't sleep that night. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind outside sounded like a threat. The dream home had started to feel like a trap. A few weeks later, a third letter arrived. The tone had changed again. The strange curiosity was gone, replaced with a chilling anger. Why are you here? You do not respect the house. You have turned it against me. You will never feel safe at 657 Boulevard. With each letter, the house felt less like a blessing and more like a curse. It was a constant looming threat over our family. We did everything we could think of. We installed security cameras all over the property. We hired private investigators to dig into the neighborhood's history, to look for anyone with a grudge. We went door to door, interviewing neighbors, trying to find anyone who had seen anything suspicious. But it all led to nothing. The letters had no fingerprints, no DNA. The envelopes were generic, impossible to trace. The police, as helpful as they tried to be, eventually had to tell us the hard truth. The case was cold. There were no leads, no suspects. Just a ghost who called themselves the Watcher. Our investigation did uncover one horrifying detail. We finally spoke to the previous owners, the Woods family. They had sold us the house, and they quietly revealed something that made our stomachs drop. They, too, had received strange letters just before they moved out. Their letter wasn't as threatening as ours, but it was from the Watcher, welcoming their new blood. They never told us, they never told anyone. They just threw it away, thinking it was a prank. The Watcher had been there before us, and maybe before them too. It felt like this entity, whoever it was part of the house itself. In the end, we never moved in. Not for a single night. We couldn't bring our children into a home where they were being watched by an unknown predator. Our dream had become a full-blown nightmare. We tried to rent the house out, hoping to salvage our finances. But more letters came, addressed to the new tenants, tormenting them. We put the house up for sale, but the story was out. Buyers would get excited, and then they'd hear about the watcher, and they'd back out. For 5 years, we were trapped, paying a mortgage on a house we couldn't live in and couldn't sell. All while the watcher kept writing, kept watching. Eventually, we had no choice. We sold it at a massive financial loss, just to finally escape the psychological prison that 657 Boulevard had become. But here's the strangest part of the entire story. After we finally sold the house and left for good, the new owners who moved in reportedly received no letters at all. Not one. It just stopped. So, was the watcher obsessed with my family specifically? Or did they simply go dormant, lying in wait for the next family to come along? To this day, the watcher's identity remains a complete mystery. There have been no arrests, no new clues, no resolution. Just a beautiful house on a quiet street with a watcher that no one can see. And somewhere in Westfield, New Jersey, someone is still out there, holding a dark secret. Still believing that 657 Boulevard belongs to them.
My name is Eliza Lamb, or at least that's the name the world remembers now. In 2013, I checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. At the time, I didn't know anything about its reputation. To me, it was just a cheap place to stay while I explored the city. I had no idea that my visit would transform the Cecil into one of the most chilling and talked about mysteries in recent American history. What happened over those few days is a story that still haunts people. A puzzle with missing pieces that may never be found. The moment I stepped inside the Cecil, something felt off. The main lobby was surprisingly grand, all bright and renovated. But as soon as I walked toward the elevators for the upper floors, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew heavy. The carpets were dark and worn. The lights flickered in the long hallways, and there was this strange, indescribable smell lingering everywhere. People would later say the hotel had a past, a dark history filled with strange deaths and unexplained events. But back then, no one explained what that really meant. I just felt a sense of unease settle over me. That first night, I remember I didn't sleep well at all. The next morning, the weirdness escalated. The elevator near my room started acting bizarrely. It would open and close on its own, over and over, with no one inside and no one calling for it. It was strange enough that I decided to film it, just to see if I could capture what was happening. Later, when I tried to use that same elevator, the doors refused to close. It felt as if the hotel itself didn't want me to go anywhere. I got a little frantic and started pressing all the buttons, one after another, but the elevator wouldn't move an inch. Feeling confused, I peeked out into the hallway for just a second. As soon as I did, the elevator door slammed shut right behind me. Then it opened again. Then it closed. Then opened. It was like an invisible person was stepping in and out, playing some kind of game. I remember letting out a nervous laugh, trying to brush it off. But deep down, a cold fear started to creep in. Something felt very, very wrong. That strange, unsettling video I recorded would later become famous. It would become the last known footage of me alive. The next night, things got even stranger. Other guests on my floor started reporting odd occurrences. They heard footsteps running down the hallway when no one was there. They heard soft tapping sounds on their doors, and faint whispering that seemed to come from empty rooms. One guest even said she heard someone talking to themselves in the hallway around 3 in the morning. When she opened her door to check, the hallway was completely empty. The hotel staff tried to dismiss it, saying it was just the normal sounds of an old building. But you could feel it in the air. A palpable tension. It felt like the hotel was alive, and it was watching all of us. Then, on January 31st, I disappeared. One day I was there, and the next I was gone. The staff confirmed I never officially checked out. When they entered my room, everything was still there. My suitcase was on the floor, my clothes were neatly folded, and my laptop was left open on the desk. It was as if I had simply stepped out for a moment and vanished into the very walls of the hotel. For the next few weeks, a massive search took place. The police scoured the entire building, from top to bottom. They checked every single room, every hallway, the creepy basement, and even the rooftop. But they found nothing. Not a single clue, not a trace of where I could have gone. It was a complete dead end. The search went on until guests started to complain about something peculiar. They said the water coming from the taps in their rooms was strange. It tasted off, had low pressure, and was discolored. They described it as dark, oily, and having a faint, metallic taste. That's when maintenance decided to check the large water tanks on the hotel roof. And inside one of those massive, sealed tanks, they found something floating. It was my body. I had been in that water tank for 19 days, while the hotel guests had been using the water below. But the discovery only deepened the nightmare. The real mystery was how I got there. The rooftop area was supposed to be locked and secured. Alarms were installed to prevent unauthorized access. The lids on the water tanks were incredibly heavy, far too heavy for one person to lift on their own. And the tanks themselves were several feet tall, making them nearly impossible to climb into without a ladder. The police investigation concluded there were no signs of a struggle. They had no answers, no logical explanation, only more questions. For years, experts and internet sleuths have analyzed that elevator footage, trying to make sense of it. They still can't explain my actions. Why did I press the buttons in that strange, specific sequence? Why did I appear to be hiding in the corner of the elevator, as if from an unseen threat? Who was I gesturing and talking to, just outside the elevator doors? And most importantly, why did the elevator malfunction like that, refusing to move while I was inside, only to start working again once I was gone? My sudden disappearance right after that incident remains the biggest question of all. To this day, the theories are endless. Some people believe it was a tragic episode related to my mental health. Others are convinced someone was chasing me. Someone who was never caught on camera. And then there are those who believe the hotel itself is to blame. They say it's cursed, a place with a malevolent energy. After all, the Cecil Hotel has been the site of so many horrors over the decades. Serial killers like Richard Ramirez and Jack Unterweger stayed there. And it has a long history of suicides, murders, and dozens of other unexplained events. Many believe the hotel has a life of its own, that it somehow feeds off the sorrow and fear of the people who stay within its walls. Whatever really happened to me inside that elevator, whatever followed me up to that rooftop, the Cecil Hotel holds the secret. It knows the truth, but it's a truth it will never tell. Thank you for listening. If you're interested in more mysteries, don't forget to follow and subscribe.